All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to run you guys through the entire process of how we do cold outreach. In this particular video, we're going to do it for new podcast guests. The same thing applies if you're looking for more clients. I have this conversation every day. Clients ask me, prospects ask me, how do you guys do it? How do you guys reach out to people? So we're going to go through the entire process of doing the industry research, finding particular terms that are relevant. Then we're going to find the people. I'm going to show you the tools that I use, how we do so, how you can do so too. We're going to take these people and put them into a LinkedIn campaign. From there, we're going to go connect with them on LinkedIn. We're going to take them through the entire messaging flow on LinkedIn, automated as well. Another question I get almost every day: how can I connect with more people, clients, prospects, peers in my industry through LinkedIn? Then we're going to go ahead and find all of their emails, and we're going to run an email campaign to get more guests on the podcast. Same thing applies if you're looking for more clients. You can run an email campaign and reach out to potential clients to get in touch with you, to book a call, to take them to next steps. All right, so let's dive right in. Let's get started. So initially, what we're going to do right now is, for this particular podcast, we're going to look for people that are in the sustainability niche. So the podcast that we're trying to look for new guests right now is we're looking for people that are affluent when it comes to sustainable architecture, sustainable buildings, potentially also leaders in governments or different spaces that are focused on sustainability topics. For this particular video, I already did some research on some keywords and some particular terms that we can use. For the sake of keeping it short, I'm going to dive right into that research. However, using different terms like ChatGPT and stuff like that can get you very quick results, and you can go through that very quickly. If we're looking at this term, we have different kinds of sustainability keywords that we can use to find people on this guest. And we're going to dive right in. We're going to use a tool called Clay. And within Clay, we're going to go and create another table. We're going to say find people. This particular tool here lets us search the entire LinkedIn database for people that we are looking for. So right now, we're going to look for different kinds of people, and we're going to go through, we can select different things like their job title, their experience, their bio. All we want to know is if they have these particular keywords in their profile description or in their bio. So here we have their headline and their about section, which we can leverage. So let's put sustainable architecture there. If we do this, we search, we can put a limit per company, and we can go and preview how many results this will initially get us. Having this keyword sustainable architecture is obviously like something that many people have. So there's over 5,000 results. And in the current plan that I'm using right now, we cannot use more than 5,000 results. What we can do is narrow it down a little bit, and we can say, okay, they speak English, because we only want English speaking podcasts on the guest on the show. And then we can narrow it down and say they need to have a minimum number of followers, because we don't want any people that are not very known on the podcast. So let's put that number up to 1,000 and click preview. It's going to show us some results that could be a little bit fewer. So we got almost 4,000 results in this plan without paying any further credits or anything. We can directly import these people into a spreadsheet. So Clay is like a spreadsheet, like Airtable, like spreadsheet on steroids that we can use to use a bunch of other softwares to automate this. So right now what we did is we found this, and we're going to put the keyword in there, 1K plus followers. And we're going to copy this quickly, just make sure this is everywhere. Put that in there. We're going to make sure we name this table. There we go. Rename, and make sure that that's safe. So then we know what we're talking about. So here we already have all of these people. Now, one thing I forgot is we want to really focus on people within the US as well. Not really everywhere, but since these people speak English, and I'm seeing some Nigeria and some Delhi in here, so let's just do that really quickly once again. All right, so we completed the list with all the leads in the US only. We already have accomplished step 1, right? And this is almost completely free. You got to pay a little bit for this tool, but even on the most basic plan, you'll get the option to get as many of these leads for absolutely nothing as you want. So you can do as many of these searches as you want, and you can export this data and go and connect with these people on LinkedIn and take this to the next level. So what we can do now is we can just export this CSV, download as CSV, or push them directly to the tool. We're going to export this now, and we're going to just put it into downloads. There we go. Now we didn't rename this list. We should do that. And then what we can do is directly import them into another tool. We're going to reach out to them via LinkedIn. So we're going to start a new campaign. We're going to call it Sustainable Architecture and then USA. We're going to go create, and then we're going to go import the leads that we have here. So create empty list, confirm. So in this tool, it gives you another bunch of options to add new leads, right? Depending on your Sales Navigator license, you'll be able to, find leads through Sales Navigator. Our option is going to be super simple. We're just going to select the CSV. We're going to click that, and we're going to upload all of these leads that we just downloaded here in the spreadsheet. We're going to click open, put them in. We're going to map the LinkedIn URL. So LinkedIn profile, first name, last name, location, looks great. Okay, select the list. There we go. And we're going to click import. All right. So now we successfully imported these 1,000 or 2,000 leads almost into another tool called HeyReach. And what this tool will help us do, it will help us reach out to 20, 30 people every day, connect with them, send them a message. Some of them will accept, some of them won't. And the ones that do accept, they're going to start seeing our posts. So in this particular case, it will be directly the podcast host who will be posting regularly about the podcast, talking about these topics. So as soon as she's connected with these people, that automatically also gives them the chance to potentially already reach out, to potentially know them, and to take next steps. So what we're going to do now quickly is we're going to go set up this campaign. So we're going to go into the campaign and we're going to select the one we just created. Let's go back. Here we go. We're going to click continue, and then we're going to click continue. And so this is the easy kind of flow we're going to do. And this is the message we're going to say. Hey, First Name saw you working on towards a more sustainable future. Thought it would be great to connect and follow your journey. So this is really no sales pitch. I'm so sick and tired of all of these LinkedIn sales pitch messages that completely right away start pitching your service. And this is really not what this campaign is about. This campaign is about connecting with people that have a similar vision and are talking about something similar. So they have the topic sustainable architecture in their profile. So these people, they're looking for the same kind of content, possibly, right? So we just really want to connect with them, be friends, be social, be on LinkedIn. The ones that do, that's great. The ones that don't, they don't. And we're going to take this to the next step. We have this, save. This is good. So accepted, one day not, message, send it, good. Okay, cool. Now what we can do, continue. What we did now is we launched a campaign, and what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly keep this in check. And then when we do continue running the campaign, we're going to make sure the other campaigns are through, and then we're going to continue running this campaign. So we did this, and we found relevant people, and we put these people into a LinkedIn campaign, and we started connecting with these people. So what can we do next if we want to find emails to reach out to these people directly? The good thing about Clay is that it lets us use all the data that we have here and connect with hundreds of other providers that can help us enrich this data. Okay, so it can help us connect with providers that give us email addresses and so on. The best possible way, but this is when it gets a little bit expensive, right? We have credits that we need to spend. However, I'm overbilling here a little bit. What we can do is go and look for different providers that can give us these email addresses for these people. So what we're going to do is we're going to go create enrichment, and we're going to select email. We're going to type in email. So here we have work email, and we can go through these. So we're going to select this one here, and then we're going to go choose our API key, which we have for some providers. You can always use your API key, or you can use credits depending on some providers that you may use more regularly, and you can use those. So we're going to go put this one first, and then we're going to go ahead and use the other ones. We don't need to use the very expensive ones. That's going to be fine. And the way this really works is it will go use your tools, and if it cannot find the email, it will use the other tools to then find that email, and it will not charge you if it cannot find it. So that's going to be really useful, as you're not going to pay for all of the credits, but just some. So we're going to go through, we're going to have full name, company domain, and we don't need to verify with zero bounds. We're going to use Lead Magic API key as well to verify those. and we're going to save this. We're going to save and we're going to run 10 rows. We're going to see what's going to happen. So it's always good to test this really quickly before we start spending a bunch of credits. So what it does now is it goes through each provider, right? Some of them it will not find initially, then it will find them through another provider, and so on, right? So it goes on and on and on. Some of the emails cannot be found because there's some data missing, right? The company name is missing, or the name is missing, or something is not right. But for the ones that it finds, it will go find the email and it will go verify it and it will go put it out at the end. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this for more of the rows. And sometimes this takes a while, right? Depending on how much data you have. Right now, we're talking about 2,000 rows of data. That can take a couple of minutes, sometimes up to hours, until it runs through all of the waterfall data providers, giving you all of the email addresses. However, once you go through it, you can see how this is really working, right? And you can also hide all of these fields. It will go through, many of them are found by the initial data provider, some of them not. Then it goes on and it finds them from another provider. And wherever it does find them, some of the condition, then it will obviously not charge you for the other providers once it used one of the providers to find a valid email. And then it will go through and output it into one column. So what we can do is we can go hide all of these columns, let it do its thing. And once it's done finding all the email addresses, we can take these emails and put them into an email campaign. And we're going to go into the next steps into running an email campaign and how we set this up. This is another tool that we got to use. So it gets a little complex. You got to use a couple of tools to get through this. However, the first thing we got to do is we got to write some copy. So let's get into that. Within a couple of minutes, we've already found over 1,000 emails, not being crazy expensive on the credits so far, because we're also using one of the tools to verify our leads through the direct API. Once this is completed, we can just take these emails and run a campaign with them. Or we could take it a step further and do some personalization based on their profile description, based on their LinkedIn, based on something that they've met. So let's try playing around with that a little bit and see what we can come up with. All right, so I've written out some basic copy for Ladina. It's not great, but we can give it a start. Then we can add some initial follow-up emails. We also have some past data for some campaigns that worked really well, where we can go check which email performed better. So here we have the email from a past campaign. We can go look at the data and the emails that we sent. So for this particular campaign that we ran on around 1,000 prospects, I think we had a success rate. Let's look at the detailed analytics. So in here, we ran a test with different email variants, and the second email, we can see the one email really performed way better. So we're gonna back on the email that we had initially used for this test. We're gonna rewrite a little bit, add some new guests to it, and then we're gonna be good to go for the next campaign. Meanwhile, let's go check our Clay table. So this looks like it has almost completed. I think we can refresh it quickly to see if it's gotten all our emails. And now we have 1,100 emails collected from the initial 2,000 columns. Now let's look. I think that completely ran and it did execute all of the columns. Now it's clear that it's not going to find every single one of them, which is completely fine. Now let's go on to the valid email profiles and see if there is a little bit more that we want to do with this. So now we're going to go brush this up a little bit. We don't really need job title. Location is kind of cool. We can definitely use that. A really cool thing that you can do with Clay as well is you can use ChatGPT or OpenAI API to go and normalize certain things. So for example, if you're looking to use the location in your email, we did this in a previous campaign where we said, hey, you look like you're from there. Potentially we could meet on a Zoom or connect in person depending on the location. This is something where you don't want to say in your email, oh, I saw you're from Brooklyn, New York, United States, right? So you want to take the location and make it more, you want to normalize it, make it easier to sound. So this is something you can really easily do with ChatGPT using one of the cheaper modules, not using GPT-4o or something very expensive, but just breaking down the location into what you would say to someone else on the street. Then we have the company domain, the LinkedIn profile, and we have all the columns on the email. So we can go ahead and we can, hide all of these columns. We don't really need them. So let's go clean up this list a little bit. So this looks great. So again, we can push this directly to the email sending tool. In our case, we're gonna just export the CSV right now and then take it to the next step. So we're gonna export this. Now we've done all of these steps, right? We've found the emails, we found the people, we added them to a LinkedIn campaign, we have the emails. So the last step remaining is taking the email copy, and we're gonna go and run a campaign with that. For this, we're gonna run over to SmartLead, one of the best cold email tools out there. We're gonna use it to run a campaign. So we're gonna take one of these campaigns, which we have here. We're just gonna duplicate it really quickly. Duplicate campaign, and we're gonna duplicate campaign sequence, confirm, proceed. And then we're going to upload our leads into the new campaign. This is going to help us simplify the process and how we had it set up initially. We're going to take this sustainable architecture, we're going to choose them, and we're going to click save. And then we're going to go map this to our client, and we're going to go import the different, we don't need the profiles, we have the company name, first name, last name, location, LinkedIn profile, and the work email. We're going to click save, and then it's going to go ahead and it's going to import all of these into our campaign. Again, this can take a couple of minutes, but in the meantime, we're going to go make sure the copy is all good. All right. And since we've already verified the email addresses, we don't need to do that again. So we're going to skip this, and we're going to go ahead and use our email copy that we just adjusted for this initial campaign. So we're going to go back into the campaign, and we're going to say, okay, first name sounds good, and put that into the copy. We're going to make sure all the merge fields are working correctly. So we already have a follow-up email in place, and we have our variant logged in. Let's go check these are all good. So when this is all good, let's go ahead and save this. Save and click next. We'll go make sure all of our sender accounts are logged in. We're going to go modify our settings, make sure that everything is good. We're not going to track any opens or any clicks or something like that. We're not going to track any vanity metrics. All we want to know is, do people reply to the email or not? So we're going to do that. And finally, we're going to look at the final review. So once everything is good, all we got to do is click send. Let's go check if everything is set according to how we need it, starting at the right time. Schedule campaign. We want to send this every day. We want to send as many as possible. We can start this from today. Actually, we can do 200 a day. Cool. We're going to save and send. Now we're ready to go. We schedule the campaign. So this was the entire process. If you like what you saw, I'm going to follow up here somewhere in the next video with the results of this campaign, show you how many people replied, how many people booked to be onto the show, and how many people actually took action or replied to one of these emails. Stay tuned for the next one.